So hi, I'm Orit Kopel, and would like first of all to thank Philip and Dwight for inviting me to speak here. I know you wanted Jimmy and got the younger, less attractive version of him, but I hope I'll do. So I'm Orit Kopel. I think I was presented with all the things that I'm doing. As you can hear by my Gal Gadot accent, I was born and raised in Israel, where the sun actually works. Gal Gadot and I share two main things. We both love hummus and pretend to be Wonder Women. So I've been the CEO of the Jimmy Wales Foundation for the past couple of years, defending bloggers and social media users that get persecuted by the governments for speaking out their mind online. My background is in human rights law, but I also have a bachelor in journalism, so I'm really happy for the opportunity to actually do something with it. So recently I had the privilege of working on a new exciting project with Jimmy Wales, founder of Wikipedia, in an effort to address one very acute problem that you've been talking about the entire day. The news is broken. Let me start with a short video that we used for our crowdfunding launch in April, just to give you a little background about what we do.
The news is broken, but we figured out how to fix it. See, before the internet, we could only get our news from traditional news organizations. Editors, fact-checkers, and reporters were the gatekeepers of news, and we trusted them to tell the truth. We even paid for them to tell the truth. That's how much we respected the news. Then the news went online, and suddenly we wanted it all for free, and we wanted advertisers to pay for it. This is a problem, because ads are cheap, competition for clicks is fierce, and low-quality news sources are everywhere. Social media, where most people get their news these days, is literally designed to show us what we want to see, to confirm our biases, and to keep us clicking at all costs. It fundamentally breaks the news. And the truth is, on the internet, no one is guarding the gate. So it's time to rethink the gatekeeper, and we call it Wikitribune. Wikitribune is a news site with a new model for the news. It takes professional, standards-based journalism and incorporates the radical idea from the world of Wiki that a community of volunteers can and will reliably protect the integrity of information. Articles are authored, fact-checked, and verified by professional journalists and community members working side by side as equals, and supported not by advertisers, but by readers who care about good journalism enough to become monthly supporters. There's no paywall, so anyone can read Wikitribune. Anyone can flag or fix an article and submit it for review. As the facts are updated, the news becomes a living, evolving artifact, which is what the internet was made for. Wikitribune is launching advertising free, created by professionals, and supported and verified by the people who care most about the news. Volunteers, supporters, you. So sign up now to support Wikitribune. It's time to fix the news.
So why is the news broken? The traditional news media is traditionally vastly reliable on ad revenue, and they are practically losing in a battle against the speed of social media. That creates a series of problems. First of all, the clickbait headlines, followed by very poor content. I'm sure you all know about the 15 vegetables that are going to kill you. Number 7 is going to astonish you. And then you click on the headline because you want to know which vegetable is going to kill you. And you're scrolling down to number 7. You're not astonished. And you feel like you wasted your 5 last minutes of your life reading something you didn't really need to know. So we want to battle that. That's one of the main problems. There's this fast publication of unverified fact. I'm sure I'm not telling you something new. We have a full conference about that. We have the bias reporting that, as you know, if you go to consumer news from Fox News or from CNN, you kind of know which kind of bias you're going to see on each one of them. So sometimes it's going to confirm your own biases, sometimes it's going to be, against your biases, but it is going to be biased, and it's not going to be the neutral information. There's the radical discourse that is another problem with the click revenue issues that inciting us to have those bombastic headlines, and it's morally problematic. And of course, the filter bubble that gives you and shows you on all social media and everywhere the biased information, the biased news that you want to consume rather than the neutral information that you need to get in order to really know what's going on in the world. So the news, so in the past decade, you can see a transformation from all traditional media like print and radio towards consumption of news from online and social media. Why is that happening? So that's a question of the chicken and egg. I'm not sure exactly where it starts, but we can definitely say that there is a problem with trust in the media. So people don't trust the media, so they're looking for alternative sources. The most available one is the social media, where there isn't any really big distinction between random people posting what they think happened or reliable sources that actually fact-checked. And again, this problem creates this accelerating battle against traditional media that has to fact-check and social media, and that creates a series of problems that I discussed earlier, which gives back the lack of trust in journalism. So the news is definitely broken, and we have a full conference about that. But don't panic, we figured out a way to fix it. And that starts with our unique business model. So as Jimmy always says, I built my career based on a series of good ideas and bad business decisions. So we decided to launch with no ads and no paywall. We fully rely on a voluntary subscription model where people who believe in our vision choose to pay a monthly subscription and support better journalism. Our business model means that every online user is going to have full free access to read every article on our website, and every community member is able and encouraged to initiate, author, fact-check, verify, and improve the articles on our website. So basically, we treat our community of volunteers and our professional journalists as equals. I think I missed one important one. Yes. I was so enthusiastic about the fact that I can use my iPhone as a remote, and now it's completely a mess. So I'll be back to my computer. Sorry. Okay. I just noticed that I missed the most important one of what is Wikitribune. So Wikitribune is an inventive news platform which evolves journalism in a way that has never been done before by bringing together a community of volunteers with high professional journalists in an effort to create a collaborative news space, a high quality news platform, open platform that is genuinely community controlled and has the backbone of professional journalists. That's the piece I was missing before telling you about our business model. So every online user can read everything. Our members can edit everything, kind of like in Wikipedia, and we treat both as equals. So the first question I always get is, what about the trolls? The short answer is, we're going to ban them. Who's going to ban them? So it's either our hired professional editors or trusted community members. How many of you have ever edited an entry on Wikipedia? Wow, okay, wow. I know where I am now. So that's great. So all of you know that everyone can edit everything, but not all of you can actually ban others. So you do need to get some more privileges to be trusted admins in order to have a little bit more permissions to actually moderate the community and lock articles and so on. So we're going to have the same model with Wikitribune in order for our community to self-sustain. So I know that Facebook recently hired a lot of employees to moderate fake news. You heard of that, right? And we're not going to do that. We're not going to hire a lot of people to moderate our community. We hopefully going to build a community that's going to self-moderate itself, and trusted community members will be able to ban trolls, and not only trolls, sometimes conspiracy seekers and all the weirdos from the internet that all of us know about. So why do we need both? Wikimedia Foundations tried the Wiki News. I'm sure all of you heard of that. I'm actually not sure all of you heard of that because it wasn't that successful. So we're doing something else. We have in the backbone of professional journalists. So each one of them are going to bring their own unique added value. We're just going to quickly, because I don't have a lot of time, overview some of the advantages of each part of our platform. So journalists have better access to sources and the cooperation by prominent figures. So if we want to interview Obama, let's say, so it's going to be much harder for our community members to actually ask for an interview from him or Theresa May or any other politician or prominent figure. But our journalists are going to be professional. So they're going to have their own sources, and politicians and so on are more willing to give interviews to professional journalists rather than just random person calling them saying, I want to improve Wikitribune. So that's their advantage. They also have the professional experience to actually tell a story. We had a hackathon before actually launching the crowdfunding, where we brought some friends from Wikipedia community, and we actually hired some freelance journalists, and we made a trial to see if it can actually work. So what happened was that the Wikipedia community members brought a lot of awesome raw data that they found, but they didn't really know what to do with it. I'm not saying all of them don't, but the professional journalists, that's what they do. They know how to tell a story, to take this raw data, this information, and create a story, an interesting story out of it. So they're going to use the collaboration, going to make some awesome articles, hopefully. And the dedicated tower, which is a very important factor. So let's say there's a fire on the Grenfell Tower. I can't, as Wikitribune, call our community members, okay, I want you to go to Grenfell Towers and cover the story. We can't actually do that. They're a community of volunteers. But we do pay our journalists. One of them is here, so we can tell you. We can actually tell him, listen, there's a fire in Grenfell Tower, please go and cover the story. And that's very important in a news website. And that's part of the reason why Wikinews, I think, wasn't that successful, because you can't really, news is time sensitive, so you have to be able to send people and actually cover things in a timely manner. On the other hand, we have the community, which is extremely important, and that's the core of our project. So of course we have the wisdom of the masses, the numbers, which brings a lot of neutrality to the articles. Most of you edited Wikipedia, so you know about the talk page, where people debate about everything that's related to the entry. And one of the things that are very heated, especially in sensitive political entries, is the terminology use. And let's say in the security fence in Israel, so some of them wanted to call the entry the apartheid wall, some of them wanted to security fence, and so on. And there was a full, just debate, a respected debate, and eventually they decided on to compromise about something, about some terms that no one was completely satisfied, but they were accepting it. And that's very crucial in news, I think. As I mentioned before, I have a bachelor in journalism, and the one thing I learned from my degree was that there isn't such a thing as a completely neutral news story. There isn't. Everything is biased. The terminology used, the fact that we use English is biased. It's a Western bias, and so on. So it's going to be impossible to tell a story in a completely neutral way but we can strive to neutrality. And one of the ways to get to neutrality is actually to get the involvement of as many people as possible. So if a traditional media have the journalist writing the story and maybe an editor or two going through the story and fixing it, you have maybe 2 or 3 people going through the story, but we're gonna have potentially dozens or hundreds of people going through especially sensitive stories and can make it more neutral and can make it better. So that's a very huge advantage that we have. They also have the expertise, their specific interests. So a lot of people online love, I don't know, video games. So they can actually write very high quality articles about it, or Bitcoin or whatever we geeks like. They have the geographical distribution, so our journalists currently are based in London, but the potential of the community members can be everywhere around the world. It can add to our neutrality, as I mentioned, but also the coverage can be unlimited, and the neutrality I discussed. So, our main values, not the only values, and some of them I actually mentioned. One of the main one beyond neutrality is transparency, and we're going to achieve that by incorporating and integrating into our articles as many raw data as possible. So, for instance, if one of our journalists are going to interview some figure, we're not only going to have the story, but at the end we hopefully going to add the transcript of the full interview and hopefully the recording as well. So our community members are able to listen to the entire recording and maybe say, okay, listen, you quoted in here out of context. I mean, in the context that he actually mentioned it, it means something else, and actually make the article better. And that can be achieved by providing as much raw material as possible and for the use of our community to make our entries better. We discuss neutrality, reliability, we're going to verify the sources, and this is going to maybe be on the account of time, because if you're fighting against the speed of social media, it's going to be very hard to verify. That's a problem today. It's very problematic to verify everything before we publish if you're fighting against social media. So we might not be the first to publish something, but hopefully we're going to be the most reliable one. That's our goal. Originality is about the clickbait. We want to be on the other scale of clickbait. We want people to read our articles and feel like they gained something meaningful out of it. That they read something that they couldn't read anywhere else, that they actually learned something and they know more about the subject, and they spend their last 5-10 minutes of their life in a meaningful way. So quality is, that's the quality and originality. In the originality part, I must say that, I'll give you an example, where we want to cover stories in a different angle than other news outlets. We can't really fight against New York Times with 10 journalists, but we can bring some other angles that others don't cover. For an example, Jimmy mentioned before that he read a story about a Russian spy being poisoned to death. I'm sure you all heard of that. And so most of the news outlets covered it in a similar way, and Jimmy, being Jimmy, he was like, what is this poison? How does it work? How did it kill him? I mean, was that used before to kill people? What's the mechanism behind it, and so on? And those questions are pretty interesting. I mean, I would like to read an article about that. So we're going to find some interesting original angles to cover. And it can be very, the community is going to be very helpful in that, because I'm sure we're going to have some poison experts somewhere helping us build such an article. And of course, the diversity for me as a human rights lawyer, that's particularly important to have a variety of backgrounds, gender, of course, and so on, perspectives. It's all, as you can see, combined, so it's neutrality and originality as well. And all of those values are with the backbone of professional journalism are going to hopefully bring back the trust in journalism. Do I have some more time, Philippe? 0 time. So I'm going to skip the differences between Wikipedia and Wikitribune. I can shortly say that we're a news site and Wikipedia is an encyclopedia. We're gonna publicly launch at the end of this month. We already have a beta version of our website available. You can register, but you probably don't need to because we're gonna be public very, very soon, publishing interesting stories, and I was told, that's the end of it, I was told to be inspiring. So I would really like, you have a full day of discussing misinformation, and I encourage all of you to be part of our revolution. I know that Wikipedia changed the world by bringing together people from all over the world to collaborate and share their joint knowledge, make it accessible to everyone for free. I believe that Wikitribune can change the face of journalism by integrating the community in the process of creating news. And I want you all to be part of our revolution. So please go to our website on wikitribune.com, subscribe, become members, contribute. If you like photography, you can help us add photos. And everything is going to be published with Creative Commons license. So I think it's going to be very valuable to have your amazing contribution to our initiative. Thank you very much for listening to me.